circuit will be given to you, and you will be analyzing the circuit and finding the unknowns from that circuit with the help of these two laws, that is Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now, what is this Kirchhoff's current law? So I will expand this as well. Here. Now, what does this Kirchhoff's current law indicates? Let's say we have a any node in the circuit. Okay, so this is a node in a circuit. So what does this node indicate? So this node means a point where which you have two or one or more circuit elements that are connected, either two or more circuit, call it as node. Let's say two resistances are connected at this point, then we can call it as node. Let's say two resistors or three resistors or four resistors are connected at that point, we can also call it as node. So whenever you have two or more elements connected at a particular point in an electrical network, we can call it as node. Leaving the node are I2, I1 and I4. Fine. And if you look at I5 is actually entering the node. Similarly, I3 is entering the node. Now Kirchhoff's current law says that the algebraic sum of currents leaving the node and the algebraic sum of and the currents entering the node is equal to 0. Now that means that I1 plus I2 plus I4 minus I3 minus I5 is equal to 0. Now I have taken plus sign for currents leaving the node, and I have taken negative sign for the currents that are entering the node. Or in other words, I can say sum of is equal to sum of currents leaving the node. So that will take me to the before you. In short, we can call it as KVL. Now, what is this Kirchhoff's voltage law states? And this Kirchhoff's voltage law states that if you take any electrical network, the algebraic sum of voltage drop of all the branches in that particular loop forming that closed path is equal to 0. So I will better explain this with the help of a diagram. Now I am putting some dotted lines here. This dotted line means that this is not the entire circuit, or this is not the circuit as a whole. This is a portion of the circuit where you are coming across a loop where we are going to apply this Kirchhoff's voltage law. So let us say all these polarities are given to you, so don't have to worry. This is the current I2 that is flowing through the resistance 5 ohm, and let V2 be the voltage drop across this resistance, and let's say we have a voltage drop V3 across this inductor, which is having value 1 Henry, and you have a dependent voltage source here. Please remain muted. Are you recording the lecture?
Yes, sir.
Good. So even if I forget, so please somebody take care. So this will be 4 times V2, and V2 is already here. So therefore this voltage source is a function of this particular voltage, let's say. And then you have another voltage drop here, V5, across this 3 ohm resistance. And let's say you have 1 by 5 farad capacitance here. And let I6 be the current that is flowing through this capacitance. So considering the direction of current, the polarity is taken as plus minus V6. Fine. And let this be the current that is flowing here, I5. And let this be the current I3. Anyway, so this dotted line, as I said, it indicates that it is not the entire circuit, but this is a portion of the circuit where we are trying to analyze a particular loop in the circuit. Now this Kirchhoff's voltage law states that the algebraic sum of voltage drop in all the branches of this particular closed path, which we can also call it as loop. So if you look at the algebraic sum of voltages in all the branches, so how many branches are there? If you see here, there is 1 branch, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So if you look at the voltage drop in all these branches, it is equal to 0. So, and again here the sign is important. Now whenever you are coming up across whenever you are analyzing a loop, let's say you take a you can consider a loop current in this way, and you can maybe travel in this direction. So when you travel in this direction and see that here there is a voltage rise, so it moves from minus to plus, which means that it is a voltage rise. Now here it is plus to minus, you can treat it as a voltage drop, and the same way here again there is a voltage drop, and again plus to minus, it is a voltage drop, plus to minus, again voltage drop, but here again there is a voltage rise, that is minus to plus, when you are traveling in this direction I. So this is a loop current which you are assuming just to write this equation for Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now if you look at the algebraic sum of all the voltage drops, so I will be taking a negative sign whenever there is a voltage rise. Let's say negative sign for a voltage rise, and a positive sign maybe for voltage drop, or in other ways you can say the sum of voltage drop is equal to sum of voltage rise, whatever. So it depends on your understanding. Ultimately you must know how to analyze the circuit based on KVL. So now when I am going along this path, so in the case of V1 there is a voltage rise from minus to plus, so therefore I will write it as minus V1. But in the case of V2 there is a voltage drop, I will write it as plus V2, and again here there is a voltage drop, so it will be plus V3, and here again there will be a voltage drop, I will write it as plus V4. Again across 3 ohm resistance there is a voltage drop, I will write it as plus V5. And then here across this capacitance, if you go along this direction, there is a voltage rise. So minus to plus. So therefore, I will write it as minus V6. So this is equal to 0. So the algebraic sum of voltage drops in a loop is equal to 0. So that is Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now let us try to take an example or a problem and try to apply this Kirchhoff's voltage law. So you can take down this question.
फिर ना बताला बिचू यहाँ की जा
So everything is, whatever I am writing now is actually part of the question. So in the following circuit diagram, the source voltages, this is given to you. V1 is equal to 15 volts and V2 is equal to 45 volts, and you need to find the current from point A to B in the circuit. A and B are marked there, if you can see there the diagram, and you should also find the voltage drop. Okay, so you need to find the voltage drop from A to C. So between A and C, how much is the voltage drop? If you travel along this path, there is a 3 ohm resistance, and then there is a 1 ohm resistance, and then there is a voltage source here. So ultimately you need to find the voltage drop between A and B, and then from B to C. So that makes it A to C. And then you must also find the power supplied by V2 and power supplied by or power absorbed by this segment BC. So this is the question. Now I hope you have taken this down. Now whatever I am going to write in blue ink, which means this is a solution. Okay, whatever I have written now in black, it is part of the question, and whatever I am going to write now in blue, it is actually part of the solution. So now to make the analysis, I am going to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law to do this analysis. Let me assume a loop current I. So I am assuming a loop current I, and so I will be traveling along this particular loop, maybe starting from V2 and apply the Kirchhoff's voltage law as we have done moments before. So solution, when you are applying Kirchhoff's voltage law, let's go along this particular loop and see here, whenever there is a voltage rise, we will make it as minus sign, and whenever there is a voltage drop, we will give it a plus sign. So in that way, if I go, I have minus V2 plus V3 so we have plus V3 plus V4 and then again plus V5, and here again it will be plus V1 and plus V6. So in all other points it is actually from plus to minus, so we are treating it as voltage drop. Now this is equal to 0. Now we have assumed this loop current I, so this means that minus V2 plus the current that is flowing is I, so the resistance is 5, so therefore this voltage V3 will be nothing but R into I. So we already know the Ohm's law, V is equal to R into I. So in that way we can write this V3 to be how much? 5 times, that is R, that is 5 is the value of the resistance and I is the current, so it will be 5I. In the same way here the current will be the voltage drop will be 3 into I. Now in the same way across this resistance, so the voltage drop will be 1 into I, so that will be I, and then we have V1, and in the question V1 is already given to be how much? It is given as 15 volts, and then V6 will be again 6 times I, and in the question V2 is also given, so that will be 45 volts. So everything else is given. So this means that if you can perform the simple addition, then you will get 15I is equal to 30. You can take this minus 30 that you get in the left hand side, you can take it to the right hand side, you will give 15I is equal to 30, which means I is equal to 2 ampere. So now I have founded this loop current, and now you see, when I know this value of I, then I can very easily answer all the questions that is given here. I can find what is the current that is flowing from A to B. So that is nothing but this current I, we have already found out. And then I must find the voltage drop from A to C. I need to find the voltage drop from A to C. So that is nothing but voltage drop from A to B and then from B to C. Let me try to do that. Now how to do this? So this is nothing but voltage drop from A to B and plus voltage drop from B to C. Now if you look at the previous circuit, Now, what will be the voltage drop from A to B? That's nothing but this resistance resistance 3 into the current I. So it will be 3 times I. Now, similarly here, what will be the voltage drop from B to C? That will be nothing but the current I into resistance 1 ohm. So that will be I. Plus, we have this V1 already given in the question. You can just add it. Now, this will be 3 times I plus, if I write for VBC, it will be I plus V1. Now, we know this already. We have already found this I to be 2 ampere. So, plus this will be 2, plus this is given in the question. V1 is given as 15. So, ultimately, you will get 23 volt. And the next question that has been asked is, what is the power supplied by V2? So V2 is the source, and we know the voltage that has been given. So the power supplied is nothing but this voltage V2 into current. So V2 into I, we have already derived in the very first lecture that this power is nothing but this a product of voltage and current. So therefore V2 is given in the question, and I we have determined. So this will be 90 watt. Now, in the same way, the last question that has been asked is, what is the power that is power absorbed by the segment BC? Again, let me take you back to the circuit that we have drawn. You see here, if you want to find the power that is absorbed by this particular part of the circuit, that is between B and C, then of course this has two elements. If you see, we must actually sum up the power that is absorbed by V5, this 1 ohm resistance, and this voltage source, that is V1. Now, in the first case, if you look at the power absorbed by this particular element, that will be nothing but V5 into I. Similarly, here it will be V1 into I. So, summing up these two, we will get the power that is absorbed by this branch of this circuit, that is VBC. So in this case, P is equal to V5 into I plus V1 into I. So this will be 2 into 2 plus 15 is given in the question. 2 we have determined. We get 34 watt. You can calculate. So I am not spending time on the calculation part. You can take care. So I am just helping you to understand the concepts with the help of this example. Now,
sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, one thing is observing the power, and another thing is spending the power.
Please repeat your question.
No, sir. One thing is observing the power, and other thing is spending the power, right? So negative sign must be taken in that.
See, here we are not concerned about the sign. We are concerned about the quantity. How much power is supplied by the source and how much power is absorbed. So in that word itself, supplied and absorbed, that what it is doing is very clear. So ultimately, we are worried about the quantity. How much is how much is spent, and then how much is absorbed. So sign doesn't play much significance here. So that's why.
Okay, sir.
Now let me take up one more example. Now we are going to use the previous circuit. I hope in your copies now you have drawn the previous circuit. You just and this for this question also we are going to use that previous circuit only, and I am framing that question based on the previous circuit. So this will be my problem 2. Now in the previous circuit, let's say if it is given that this voltage drop between the points A and C is 15 volts, let's say it is given, and the voltage drop between the points B and D, it is given as 21 volt, and determined what is V1 and V2. Let's say V1 and V2 are not given, and we need to determine. Let me once again take you back to the circuit. Now this is the same circuit that we are using to frame the next problem. So the second problem also is based on this particular circuit, and here it is given that the voltage drop between A and C is totally 15 volt. So that is the voltage drop, and in the same way the voltage drop between the points B and D. You see here B and D. Now if you look at this points B and D, the voltage drop from B to D via this point C will be same as if I look from B to A and then from A to D, because ultimately, let's say if I want to find the voltage drop in this way, I'm using a different color now. Now let's say if I want to find the voltage drop, so the voltage drop from B to D along this branch will be same as the voltage drop from this branch, connected diagonally, right? So diagonally, let's say I am using a device, let's say a voltmeter, which is used to measure voltage. Now if I am connecting a voltmeter across this point B and D, it will be showing some reading, and that reading will be same as the voltage drop from B to C and C to D, and it will be also same as the voltage drop from D to A and from A to B. Both are same. So please remember this point when we actually solve this problem. Now I am going to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law, and this voltage law, it states that the algebraic sum of voltage drops in a particular loop is equal to 0. Now if I use that loop that we have come across in the previous whiteboard, now we have minus V2 plus V3 plus V4 plus V5 plus V1 plus V6 is equal to 0. So here V1 and V2 we don't know, rest all they have given in the question indirectly. So V1 and V2 we need to determine. So V1 minus V2 plus, if you look at this voltage drop across V3 in that circuit, you can see in your copy voltage drop V3 will be nothing but 5 times I. In the same way V4 will be 3 times I, and V5 will be how much? It will be I, and in the same way voltage drop V6 will be 6 times I, as we got in the previous problem. Same procedure. You can assume a loop current I and then you can travel along that direction, and you can say you can write this particular equation based on whether there is a voltage drop or a voltage rise. Now we get 15I is equal to 0. Now from here you can obtain a relationship between I and V1 minus V2. And once you get familiar with this particular approach, you will be using any method to, or you may follow any sequence to solve this problem. You don't have to follow me or imitate me step by step. So let's say we'll take this as the first equation. Now in the same way, if you look at the question, see, it is given that the voltage drop between the points A and C is 15 volt. Now if you look at that circuit, you can refer your copy now. I don't want to go back again and again. Now if you look at that path from A to C, you have the voltage drop V4 there, and then you have the voltage drop V5, and then you have the voltage drop V1. So it can be written that VAC is nothing but the voltage drop V4, V5 plus V1. Now it is given in the question that VAC is equal to 15, and V4 we have already determined to be 3 times I, whatever may be that loop current I, which we have not found out at this particular point, plus V1. Again, this V1 is unknown to us. We need to determine this. And we can now write this equation as 4 times I plus V1. Now already by substituting this equation number 1 in 2, we can write that V2 minus V1 by 15 plus V1. Now if you can rearrange this equation, I don't want to spend my time on that because this is based on your mathematics skills which you have already acquired, I assume. So 15 into 15, if you can take this 15 to the left hand side, it will be 4 times V2 plus 11 into V1. Now I have obtained an equation in which V2 and V1 are unknown to us. Let's say this will be my third equation. Let me proceed further. Now it is also given in your question that the voltage drop across BD is how much? It is given as 21 volt. And as I told you, I have marked it in green. If you look at the circuit diagram, moments before I marked it in green, and I told you that voltage drop across VBD will be same as the voltage drop across DA plus the voltage drop across AB. Now if you look at this circuit, in fact in the question it is given that VBD is equal to 21. Now let me see what is VDA and VAB. I will again go back to the circuit. Fine. Now if you look at VDA, so what are all we have? We have a V2 and then we have a 5 ohm resistance, and this V2 it is unknown to us, and if you want to find this VDA, which means it will be V2 minus whatever we have, that is 5 times 5 times this current, whatever it may be flowing here. And similarly, if you want to find VAB, so this will be nothing but the voltage drop V4, that will be nothing but minus 3 into I, whatever. So now so this will be B2 minus 5 into I minus 3 into I. So it will be
voltage range is taken negative, no?
Yeah, P2 is negative. I am glad that you brought that up. I'll clarify that. Let's say this is V2. Fine. Let's say there is a resistance R1 and there is a resistance R2. And let's say a current I flows through this. Fine. Now, if you apply KVL to this particular loop, you will get, let's say, V2 is equal to. So ultimately, whether you take it as minus or plus, it's the algebraic sum that matters. Now, even if I take it as minus V2 and I take the remaining voltage drop as, let's say, positive, plus V voltage drop across R2. Fine, this will be 0. Now, if I ultimately take these things to the right hand side, if I take this V2 to the right hand side, it becomes positive. So this will be nothing but VR1 plus VR2. And now, instead of this, let's say I am taking a plus sign here and a negative sign here. Now, still I will be getting how much? VR1 plus VR2. Now, in course of time, you will understand that sign change that I had mentioned was just for the sake of uniformity, but when it comes to the analysis, it doesn't matter actually. Okay. So, is that clear to you, or do you require more explanation?
Yes.
Now you can try. See, you can try by. Yeah, you can try the same thing. What you can do, you can take a negative sign here, positive sign here, positive sign here. Now this will be clear to you. It will ultimately give you the same thing, the same equation you will be getting. Fine. Is that clear to you? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
say in the first line you have write VBD is equal to VDA plus VAB. Yani VDA plus VAB will give VDB, I think.
VDB, right? So
yes,
whether it may be VDB or VAB, see the voltage is that what is required. The voltage drop, as I told you.
required is VBD.
When you do the lab course, it will be much more clear to you. I will, if possible, I will suggest you a software in which you will be able to virtually connect this type of resistance. Just in software only, you will be connecting a resistance, and then you will have the provision to connect a voltmeter to measure the voltage, and then you will be able to understand this better. Now you see, let's say you have connected this circuit, you have taken a voltage source, and then the positive terminal of that you have connected to a resistor, and then this resistor you have connected with another resistor. Now let's say you have made this connection, and then you are taking another voltmeter or a multimeter, which is a device which is used to measure the voltage and current or whatever. So now if you are trying to connect that between these two terminals, it will show you some reading, and that reading will be same as the voltage drop from B to C and from C to D, and it will also be same as the voltage drop from D to A and from A to D. Fine. So as I told already, it is the quantity that I am interested in, not the polarity.
Okay, sir.
Fine here. So ultimately I am interested in knowing how much drop has actually happened here in this part of the circuit. That's it. Okay. So this will be the same. You can repeat the analysis if you want to find this voltage drop. Sorry, if you the question says that you have to find the find VBD, right? Now for this VBD, you can also write this equation if you want, from the voltage drop from B to C and from C to D. Again, it is going to be same only. Now I'll go back where I have stopped. Now if you remember, we have already obtained an equation relating V1, V2, and then we need one more equation. See, if we have two unknown quantities here, V1 and V2. Now if I have two equations, I can solve these two equations and find the two unknown quantities. So that's what I am trying to do. So this will be 21 is equal to V2 minus 8 into I. So this will be V2 minus 8. We have already obtained this equation for I. That will be nothing but V2 minus V1 divided by 15. Fine. Now this is let's say using equation number 1. Now again, if you rearrange this equation, you will be getting 21 into 15 is equal to 7 times V2 plus 8 times V1. Now this will be my fourth equation. Now if I can solve equation number 3 and equation number 4, you see here I will have two equations in terms of V1 and V2. I'll take you back to the third equation. I have already written an equation here. If you see here, I have written this equation number 3. So there again it is in terms of V2 and V1. So two equations, two unknowns. Solve these two equations, you will get the value of V1 and V2. And to solve this, I hope you are aware of using the calculator. Am I right? So I hope you have your calculators, right? So whatever may be the calculator that you are using, now you must know how to operate it. So for that, you must go through the operating manual. So they would have mentioned step by step how to solve a equation. Now you can go there, you can apply this coefficients of this equation, that is 7, 8, 4, 11, and that constant term in the right hand side. You can just supply these terms, it will give you the solution. Or if you know any other method, you can do it manually also, but that takes time. You are allowed to use calculator. So solving three and 4, we will be getting V1 is equal to 7 volt and we will be getting V2 is equal to 37 volt. You can check this. Now you can take down the question for the next problem based on KCL. We will solve it in the next class. You see, I am going to make a very important announcement. Please listen carefully. See, I will be on leave starting from December 16th to December 24th. So what I am planning, that I will be on leave starting from December 17. So I won't be able. I will be traveling, so I won't be able to take class. So I want to compensate for that. So I am arranging some compensation classes. The first compensation class I am planning to have today itself. That is from 10:30 to 11:30. So today is 14 December. One compensation class, and another compensation class I am trying to have tomorrow. Tomorrow, that is between 9:30 and 9:30 to 10:30. I hope you are free in this time. 9:30 to 10:30 on 15 December. And if possible, I will also try to arrange a class on Wednesday. Fine, that is on 16th December, so that we are actually missing 4 classes. Here, if you see here carefully, we will be missing the class on 19, and we will be missing the class on maybe 21st. And then 24th we will be missing the class. So 4 classes we are ultimately missing. So 3 I am compensating now, and 1 class will be compensated later on after I come back. Okay, so please note this. I will be scheduling the meeting. You will be getting the mail. So be in touch with your CR. I have informed your CR as well. I will schedule the meeting. You will get the meeting link accordingly. Please, your volume is not audible to me.
So on what kind? On
Wednesday I will tell. I will go through your timetable and see. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll go through. Please take down this question as of now.
Sir,
This will be, yeah, please tell me.
sir, if I solve this question with a different approach, it is okay, na, sir?
Yes, ultimately I require the answer. That's why when you become familiar, you can use any method. Okay, unless and until it is really specified there, use KCL or KVL. You can. There are many ways to solve this. So one by one, you'll be getting familiar with.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. I used KCL, but I found the equation in the form of I and V1 and then solved it.
Okay, so used KCL instead of KVL, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but you got the same answer, right?
Yes, sir. 37 and 7.
Good. Okay, so unless it is really specified there, you use this method or that method, then you can adopt any method if it is not specified. Anyway, so this is a question based on KCL. You can just take down and then you can go from the meeting. So this will be the current IA. Let's say this is gate 1. If IA is given as 5 ampere and IB is given as 3 ampere in the above circuit, find V. You need to find the currents I1, I2, I3, and then the third thing that you need to find is the power supplied by IA. Now, this is the question. We can do it in the 10:30 class. Fine. And based on this KCL and KVL, those who are doing your lab today, so probably maybe our TA will be giving a general instruction, or if he wants to start the experiment, then he will start as well. So be prepared. Okay. So I'll be also with him.